And we are finally live, folks. Preston was actually loading up a Christmas tree when the news broke. And so got him in here to do a special TigerBait live show tonight, brought to you by attorney Kenneth P. Haines, Tramonte's, and our good friend Tony Freeman at Assurance Financial. And we'll talk about all three of them later on in the show. Tramonte's has got a select whiskey bottle here that we're going to talk about as well. But LSU gets their man, and thank God it was starting to wear on a lot of people, grate on a lot of people. Brian Kelly of Notre Dame is LSU's new football coach. We're hearing a price tag of $75 million for 5 years. And I've talked to, of course, we were on top of the news all day long today. Probably right after lunch, put out our report that LSU was in hot pursuit of Brian Kelly. I've been dropping Brian Kelly's name periodically from the very beginning, saying, unless they go back in on Brian Kelly, I'd always kind of throw that caveat out there. Could they go back in on him?
I'm going to interject real quick because I don't give you credit very often. It sucks giving you credit. But the very first day, y'all, Mike Scarborough said, I think Brian Kelly is a home run hire. I think that's a guy I think that would make a lot of people very happy. I think he's an outstanding coach. So kudos to him for scouting out Brian Kelly. Now, don't inflate his head too much, but day one, he literally was telling me Brian Kelly, and I believe we went on air day one, and you said Brian Kelly. So shout out to you.
But also, too, the knock on him is he's 60 years old. And so we can talk about that, but I tell you what, there's one thing that you can't deny. Look at his one-loss record. Of course, we know well in hand how he beat LSU in 2 bowl games with outmatched LSU with better personnel and talent. And one thing he's going to bring to LSU, and I talked to Jamie Howard about 30 minutes ago, and he and Walker are extremely happy. Quincy Wiggins is happy. We're going to be reaching out to more recruits after the show. But Jamie Howard, of course, and Walker went up there. And, of course, I joked that they were actually on a fact-finding mission to scout out and help bring Brian Kelly to LSU. Of course, Verge Alsbury was up there with his 2 sons who were recruits. And look, one thing Brian Kelly is a hard-nosed football player. So if there's anybody watching this show that's been in our chats or on our Tiger Den message board complaining about how they think LSU's soft, you're not going to have that with Brian Kelly. One thing that he's known for, and when I talked to Jamie earlier, I said about the strength and conditioning coach, and a lot of people believe that Notre Dame's strength and conditioning coach is the best strength and conditioning coach in the country. That's Matt Bayless, and he is tied to Brian Kelly, and I fully expect him to join Brian Kelly, Coach Kelly here in Baton Rouge. So,
well, you know who else on his staff is considered maybe the best in the country, right?
Marcus Freeman.
Marcus Freeman. Now, does he come? I've heard a lot of buzz, including from Ross Dellinger. He may get considered for the head coaching job at Notre Dame. That'll be interesting because I think they'd rather Luke Fickell as a Midwest guy. I wouldn't be surprised if his number 2 dream job would be Notre Dame behind Ohio State.
This is what's going to be interesting about that. And we got to fly through some messages. And, and I'm going to let you talk about it. But here's the other thing on Marcus Freeman. Does he stay in South Bend and work for, if it's Luke Fickell, and of course, Notre Dame, I talked to the guys at Irish Sports Daily before we went live. Do they, are they willing to wait for Luke Fickell if they're in the playoffs? They're already hemorrhaging commitments. So that's going to be very interesting. But would Marcus Freeman stay to work for his old boss at Cincy, Luke Fickell, or does he see, because his goal is to one day be a head football coach, does he see an opportunity to come with 60-year-old Brian Kelly
to LSU and be the heir apparent?
Right.
You never know.
That is the smarter play.
I agree.
It's absolutely the smart play.
Unless Notre Dame's willing to offer him the job right now, because as we saw last year, he did pick Notre Dame over LSU.
And that will be probably what Notre Dame brass weighs. Yeah. To salvage this recruiting class, which a lot of them are Marcus Freeman's guys.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Now, if I had to bet, he's probably their number 2 choice.
Luke Fickell, of course, we did all the research, and the only jobs that we ever was told that he would leave Cincinnati for would be Ohio State and Notre Dame. I talked to my Ohio State guy this afternoon. He said absolutely Notre Dame is his dream job. He's as good as gone. The problem is how soon can they get him? So
By the way, Notre Dame, not an easy place to recruit. Did you know they have a top 5 recruiting class right now? It'll be very interesting to see. Because this LSU class, of course, they did lose Tramonte Citizen. Was that today or yesterday? It's blended into one long day for me. But anyways, Tramonte Citizen they lost, so they're down to 13. But the nucleus is there, including the number 1 quarterback and a 5-star offensive tackle, 4 offensive linemen, 2 of whom are going to be kind of plug-and-play type guys. The nucleus is there. How do you round out the next half of this class? And it'll be very interesting because he is a good recruiter.
Throughout the recruiting, throughout the coaching process, talking to look, for instance, I talked to some guys in Texas that cover Texas A&M and others, and they said the one guy that they were fearful that LSU would get would be Brian Kelly.
Mm-hmm. Oh yeah,
because of how tough as nails he is and what he would do to whip LSU's roster into shape.
Yeah, and he's a much more respected football coach. In fact, Colin Cowherd, who I know is not going to be the most popular name, but he's a national pundit with an immediate reaction, he said LSU should be expected to contend for a national title next year.
That's crazy.
That is crazy, but, I mean, the talent's there.
LSU dressed out less than 60 players, scholarship players, Saturday night. Yeah. And we don't know what the end result of the transfer portal is going to be.
Yeah. I mean, it's too early to say anything like that, but I mean, if you get those injured reserve guys off the injured reserve and they don't transfer out, I mean, the talent is there.
Here's the one thing we do know. What was the main reason why I wanted Mario Cristobal?
He can recruit offensive linemen.
And that's this guy.
He can do that. Remember, he pulled Jacob Tillery from Louisiana.
And by the way, look at all the recruits that I know, that I believe Notre Dame might have been their second choice in this year's class.
Yeah. Walker Howard.
And the Osbury kids. They loved it up there.
Oh, yeah.
But they loved the staff.
Oh, yeah. And look, here's the deal. Notre Dame's not as easy to recruit nowadays as it was in the 80s, 90s, and before. Yep. I mean, Notre Dame has taken a step back. They're in the Midwest, which is a tough place to recruit. There's just not a lot of talent per capita out there. So what do y'all think? I'd give it at least at the very bottom. I'd give it a good B+ as a higher, if not higher.
Yeah. But he is the guy that was in that A category.
Oh, I didn't know he was. Yeah, when I said yes, look, he's a big fish.
That's big.
That's big fish. I didn't know he was on the table.
And by the way, you want to talk about teams going to the playoffs and losing?
Yeah. Oh, by the way,
he never got beat. He never got beat like Oklahoma.
He got beat pretty solidly.
He gave Alabama a tough.
He didn't get beat 63-28, but he did get beat 31-14. I mean, he got solidly beat, but I mean, look at those teams he's playing. I mean,
Ken Trosclair.
I think he hit that ceiling. By the way, another national title appearance we're not even talking about.
Ken Trosclair, I like the hire better than Lincoln Riley. Brett LeBlanc. Go get Wiggins, Matthews, Anderson. I know LSU coaches Mickey Joseph and Austin Thomas were at Ponchatoula today. Anderson and Mawson finished his class off strong. Boy, I'd love for somehow them to get Aaron. You guys know I want Aaron Anderson back in the fold for LSU.
Oh, yeah. Dude, I've seen him in person filming Emory Jones, in fact, before he was on LSU's radar. Kid's a beast.
Yeah. Jacob Powell echoes me. Good hire, glad it's over, and we can all move on to making the Tigers great again. And by the way, you got him on the ground before the end of November.
Oh, yeah.
And so that was a key that we talked about through the entire process. What if you could get a guy before the end of November, and then you've got several weeks to finish off the class of 2022? It's going to be a whirlwind 2 weeks, folks. I believe that. Guys, do me a favor, like, share to social media. If you like the show, please spread the word, and very much appreciative. Let me scroll down. I got. I know there was a super chat earlier that I missed. There it is. Brian and Annie Penton, thank you very much. How does this affect recruiting? Will it be a good thing? Look, anytime there's a new coach anywhere, even if it's somewhat middle of the road, your school is going to get a bump. There's excitement. There's a lot of people that just are feasting on every little morsel of the new hires, who the new position coaches are. And so not only do you have that, but you're going to have 2 strong weeks of recruiting info coming as fast as they can get it.
Oh, yeah.
And then, of course, you're only allowed so many coaches on the road. How do they handle that? You know, you still got the old staff on the payroll, and then we're going to wait for the bowl prep. That's going to be very interesting.
Well, LSU can't lose to Notre Dame or lose to Brian Kelly in this bowl,
can
they?
we saw a bowl. We saw a bowl projection, BYU in the Independence Bowl today.
Hey, look, man, that'd be exciting. Get your bourbon.
Yeah, I was thinking about that.
Get you some Heaven's Door bourbon and get ready to go up to Shreveport, y'all. Cause
Kenneth P. Haines in Shreveport. We'll set up a tailgate party right in the front yard of the law firm.
Right there, right?
Yeah. Let's see if that takes place. Let's see. All right, guys, forgive me. I know we were late, and this was thrown together last minute, and very much thanks to our sponsors for for jumping on board and saying, heck yeah, we want to be a part of a special night show.
Shout out to Louisiana Nursery speeding up the Christmas tree job to get me here on time. The Christmas tree is still on the truck, by the way. If anybody wants to help my wife go get it down while we're doing the show, she'd be very appreciative.
Yeah, look, when I talked to Jamie Howard, he said, look, this guy is all business. He is absolutely a CEO, and he goes, that's exactly what the LSU football program needs right now. They are very much excited about, and he talks about the class in which he conducts himself, and so that was a big positive for Jamie Howard when I talked to him earlier. So I'm gonna get Jamie on the show after they meet the coach and talk about it some more. So be on the lookout for that, and we'll get Walker as well.
Hey, another thing on recruiting I want to point out for Brian Kelly. He currently has Ponchatoula athlete Amorion Walker committed to Notre Dame. Is that possibly an in to not only bring him, since there's plenty of spaces, and he's a top 500 kid, not super highly recruited, but his teammate is Jacoby Matthews. Could you get a 2-for-1 deal there? I don't know. There's just some, because Jacoby Matthews is 5-star safety. I mean, you will absolutely.
I think you're about to see a bunch of guys start falling real quick.
I think this class is going to look really nice really quickly. December 15th can't get here soon enough.
Call me Larry. Welcome. No offense, Kelly, and we're going to beat Alabama and Georgia. Okay. I'm gonna get some of the negative comments in here.
I'm really interested. I'm gonna start picking the mind of people's how he is as a play caller. One of the negatives I do have on him, which I'm just being fair, he has not called plays in the 21st century as a assistant coach. Now I don't know if he's called plays as a head coach or not, but he's won 263 games as a head coach, y'all.
Joseph Thaddeus Guillot, great hire. John Breaux. Doesn't look like the former senator, but a John Breaux. Home run hire.
Yeah, it's a big fish, y'all.
Rusty Alder, terrible choice. He is a plague with a Michigan logo. I like it. And congrats to your Wolverines on that big win over Ohio State. I enjoyed watching that.
Yeah.
Holden Lee, you called it, Mike. I know you love the hire. You love the hire. I'm not saying I love the hire. But I do think it is a big hire. How many schools pull head coaches that are 11-1 from Notre Dame?
I mean, I would say USC, but he's not even 11-1.
You weren't talking about the bluest of the blue bloods.
No, if nothing else, it's a flex as a program. LSU just flexed its
after
might.
Scott Woodward's been raked over the coals.
Oh yeah.
I mean, if you would have heard some of the phone calls I've received in the last 24 hours. I mean, they were ready, a bunch of them ready to run Scott Woodward out of town.
No, this is a great rebound. If Lincoln Riley was indeed the guy, outstanding rebound.
Mark Cummey, Mike is a man. Remember talking about Kelly a while back. And by the way, not only did I joke with Jamie, but when I was doing a recruiting update on Austin and Jaden Osbury and how all their visits, they were making all the trips. I joked with Verge when I ran into him that he was. Are they really interested in Notre Dame, or were you,
Were you recruiting him?
Yeah,
And I don't suppose you're going to give that answer to the 500 people watching right now, huh?
Yeah, no, he laughed us. No, but but that just shows you that there's several other kids in Louisiana that were very interested in Notre Dame.
By the way, how many people do we?
Their
have
staff, 748.
748. Y'all hit that like, comment, share, punch the like, hit that share, get some more people. I want to see if we can get 1,000 in here.
Let's see what I got. Let me scroll back down. I think I had another one.
Another cool fact while he's finding some cool things, did y'all know he's actually won 2 national championships? While he was at Division II football for, what was even the name of the school, man? It was Grand Valley State. In 2002 and 2003, he won 2 Division II national titles. So everywhere this guy's gone, he's won. I mean, everywhere he's gone. Cincinnati, Central Michigan, Grand Valley State, Notre Dame. He's a winner, y'all. And I remember when he was hired away from Cincinnati, he was 12-0 at Cincinnati. This was a Grand Slam hire for Notre Dame, and he hasn't disappointed.
Kenny Futch, growing up, I never dreamed LSU would take a coach from Notre Dame.
Boy, me too. Because I remember Notre Dame coming to Tiger Stadium and putting a whooping on LSU growing up.
You know, I think there's some Notre Dame people, even though they're 11-1. I was talking to a couple of them tonight. I'm like, you know, first of all, they're like, you know, this gives them an opportunity. It's kind of like, you know, in the NFL, trading away a veteran player, you know, that maybe has a few years left and it looks risky.
Yeah.
But they're going the youth movement.
Yeah.
And, you know, and maybe they were able to grab Luke Fickell, a very young coach. So Joel Robinson, do you think this has been in the works for a while and Riley was just a smokescreen? You know, maybe one day we're going to get the story. I tell you, I don't buy into when they say we didn't offer Riley. Usually, the way those things go is if you're saying yes to the job, this is your offer. But if you're not saying yes to the job, you don't have an offer, and that way they get to say we didn't offer Lincoln Riley. Those absurd numbers that I saw that the USC paid for Lincoln Riley. Paying over and above his house, buying him a $4 million home in Los Angeles. Of course, what does a $4 million home get you in Los Angeles? About 1,400 square feet.
$6 million home, for sure, is what he got. $6 million, but still, I joked that I would do it for 1%. What he got, and I'd take the $60K home. I looked it up on Zillow. $60K gets me a tree. I looked it up for real. Tweeted it out and everything.
Kevin Vercher, congrats to Woodward. Got your guy. Great hire.
Absolutely. I mean, I understand why people would hate on it, but I mean, come on. If you're looking objectively, you went from, check this out. Ed Ogeron, you know how many wins he had as a head coach? He had 16, including 6 as an interim. 10 at Ole Miss as a head coach to a guy with 263 wins. Speaks for itself.
Akeem Batiste, I'm going to hate losing Kevin Falk, Corey Raymond, and Mickey Joseph. I hope he can build a fence around our state. That's never really been a problem. When was there a problem? In the 90s.
DiNardo. Well, no, not even DiNardo.
No, it was Hallman and Archer.
Hallman, Archer. I mean, really, it started with, what's his name? Who's the coach there for 20 years?
Started with Archer.
McClendon. No, come on. McClendon even had some problems.
It was Archer.
No, McClendon had problems, man. He
I was alive.
Get out of here.
I was alive.
Shut up.
Okay.
I know about it.
No, you don't.
I've read about it.
It was Archer.
All right. He got me on that one. I have no.
It was Archer, then Hallman, and then Kevin Falk broke the ice. No,
you might be right because I remember Arns Parker won some football games now.
Aaron Adams, Esteban Estevez hiring a top 3 winningest coach that no one expected would leave isn't a splash hire. Who did you want? Bill Belichick?
Hey, look, Esteban is always on our show, and I think that might have been his best comment ever. I mean, really, come on, people. That's like, I mean, I think Lincoln Riley was the big name. This is your step down.
This is Aaron Adams taking one of Esteban's messages in the chat to task.
Okay.
Saying Esteban hiring a top 3 winningest coach that no one expected would leave isn't a splash hire.
Yeah. By the way,
did you want him to get? Bill Belichick?
No, really. All right. Well, Esteban, I still love you, man.
Yeah, Aaron Adams.
Look, I took a Twitter poll today. Right in the middle of the show, I put out a Twitter poll. How would you rate the Brian Kelly hire? A, B, C, or D, or below? Let's see. 68% saying A, 23% say B. That means less than 10% think it's a C or worse. So I think most Tiger fans, maybe they got that sticker shock at first, but they've come around the corner.
Gregory Price, I want offensive and defensive line recruits that Notre Dame gets.
Yeah. I want the offensive and defensive line play that they get.
I'm most happy about it.
Yeah.
Because of the offensive line. So here we go.
Tramonte's has meat. Tramonte's has seafood. Tramonte's has much more. Tailgating and home gating platters. Huge wine and liquor selection. Beer and all the spices you need. Chairman Reserve and Wagyu meats. Ribeye rolls, shrimp rolls, kebabs. 20 flavors of sausage for the grill. Daily lunch specials and game processing. On-site catering also available. Good meat ain't cheap and cheap meat ain't good. Visit Tramontes.com.
And there you have it. Thanks to Tramonte's for sponsoring the show tonight. And
yeah, thank you, Tramonte's Meat and Seafood, and for sponsoring the LSU Football Fix. We're going to be live tomorrow again at 8 o'clock, and he'll be sponsoring it. Of course, he's got his special whiskey tonight, Heaven's Door. This is a single-barrel, store-picked whiskey. That means that the store owner picked this whiskey out. They went and sampled it and picked it out, said this is going to be the best. They made it custom for his members, his people coming out. So go buy Tramonte's on Old Jefferson, right next to Parkview Baptist there. Give it a try. And because we both think this is an A+ higher tonight, or an A higher at least, we're going to take a little, we're going to do a little cheers to this. So here we go.
yeah,
Limited supply, y'all. Very good.
I don't know how that rolls with YouTube's policies, but I think we'll be good.
So cheers, Mike, to a great new coach.
Definitely. I'm glad the coach's search is over.
Good stuff. Thank you, Tramonte's Meat and Seafood. That's incredibly
I
smooth.
wonder what Durante Jones would think of that one.
Man, I'm going to have to get him on and bring him in studio.
Yep.
Man, that's another thing is, who is Brian Kelly going to retain from this staff? It's going to be hard to tell. Of course, Mike's talked a lot about clearing house. We'll see.
Mark Hummey says Corey Raymond staying. We'll see. He might be. But here's the thing, and I can tell you, Brian Kelly is a CEO. There's one thing I was getting worried about this weekend. I was hearing some reports that maybe some of the problems were that LSU Woodward was requiring that new coaches keep a couple of coaches. I'd heard Brad Davis and Corey Raymond. And I have a hard time believing a coach like Brian Kelly would ever agree to that. Now, if he sees the value in any current LSU coach and that he thinks he can upgrade or they're better than somebody that he can bring in or someone that he's currently got on his staff that will join him, then that's up to him. But I don't think anybody else should be involved. So
I'm getting together a little bit of social media.
Man, I'm not really a whiskey drinker, but that's good.
Dude, it was so smooth. Man.
Okay. Good stuff.
I look ridiculous here. Hey, tell me I'm not a traditional millennial here, literally taking a picture for social media while we're live on air.
Yep.
But hey, look, I'm excited about this coach, and you should be too. You should be too. I think that if nothing else, good things are to come. I think that the big perception is for the last 20 years since Nick Saban left, the coaches have been average to below average. And Brian Kelly, by no stretch of the imagination, is a below average coach.
American Patriots, some people would be griping if we hired Sean Payton. Can't satisfy everyone. Go Tigers.
There you go. That's exactly right.
Jim Milano, does Rudy have any eligibility left? Yeah. By the way, who was it? Was it Joe Montana that was on Dan Patrick or maybe Eisen show? And he basically blew the Rudy story to bits. Like,
really?
Basically said most of it was like
what?
Totally embellished.
What?
Oh, yeah, man.
I guess I'd want to know what was embellished. Like, did he actually get the sack on fourth down? Like, I assume he actually got the sack.
I'd have to go back and watch it.
Because, like, let's be honest, the story means nothing if he didn't get the sack. But that's wild, man.
Eric Lemoyne, love it. Absolutely home run. Look, no coach is perfect. Right. You know, some people are going to nick him for his age, and I'm saying nick. They're going to ding him for his age. But how old is Saban now?
70.
Are you ready to throw him down the steps?
Okay, look, just respectfully, here's what I'm going to talk about the age thing. There just comes logistical concerns of, do you have enough energy to come in? And I mean, the team's not in a winning spot. It's going to take a lot to build this into a winning program. A lot of times older coaches can kind of, once they've built something up, keep it rolling. You don't oftentimes see coaches of this age leave for a new opportunity. So maybe that's a legitimate criticism on him, but how much energy does he have? You just it varies from person to person. I'll tell you what, this 50-year-old I'm sitting next to might
What? 37, jackass.
This 37-year-old plus 13-something has a ton of energy and could take it on.
Yeah, Are You Serious Sports? Let's go. Our buddy Blake Ruffino, he had a show earlier tonight.
Yeah.
I think he probably had a few hundred in there.
We were talking to him about Brian Kelly earlier today, and he kind of agreed with us, like, hey, that's not a bad hire at all.
Scott Tron, what coaches may potentially stay on? By the way, Blake, if you're in the chat, they're claiming in the chat that you were saying up to 3 coaches were staying, or were you just saying that there were possibilities to stay? Yeah, there you go. Jay Dixon. Kelly is 10 years younger than Saban. Just tweet on Twitter that Corey Raymond and Kevin Falk are staying, maybe Baker too.
Man, that would be exceptionally quick to be making staffing decisions like that, don't you think?
Man, I need more info on that, guys.
Yeah, we can't really just run with stuff like that. I mean, has he even been to Baton Rouge yet? You know what I mean?
John, Mary, and Preston, but Kelly has never won a Division I national championship. Coach O may only have 24 wins, but has a national championship.
Well, go keep Coach O then. Yeah. I mean, everybody keeps bringing up playoff struggles there's not having a championship. Yo, there's 5 coaches with championships right now. You know who else doesn't have one? Kirby frickin' Smart.
Excessives 1, Marcus Freeman, LSU. It's going to be interesting to see how that plays out. Does Notre Dame elevate him?
Yeah.
Is their head coach? Does he stick around if it's Luke Fickell, who's very young? Marcus Freeman flat out said during the DC hire last year that he wants to be a head football coach in the future. Okay, well, what's more logical? To stay in South Bend to be the DC for a guy like Luke Fickell, or to follow 60-year-old Brian Kelly to Baton Rouge? So does LSU get a second bite at that Marcus Freeman apple? One of the big selling points on Notre Dame, we were told, was big Catholic family. Well,
Yeah.
maybe they need to give them a tour or show them a map of all the Catholic churches in East Baton Rouge Parish. And like I said during that whole search, I bet you there's probably twice as many Catholic churches in Baton Rouge than there is in South Bend.
Look, I'll tell you what, Marcus Freeman, I'm going to take you a tour. St. Patrick's right up the road. Beautiful church. I went to preschool there.
Parker got blessed there.
Yeah, Tofu gets blessed there too. Shoot, I even take the other dog to get blessed there. Ruby needs it. But yeah, no, great place, man. Let me take you. If not, I got Father Michael Olello up the road and St. Thomas More in Sherwood Forest. Wonderful church there. Great school.
Lots to choose
Come on
from.
down, Marcus Freeman. I'll show you around.
Hit them all till you find the father that you relate to the most.
Of course.
But I'm imagining that they're probably going to be in a, if they were to come, they would be in the parish somewhere off of Highland, right?
Yeah, I imagine so.
Yeah.
Or corporate.
Titus Jackson, great work, guys. Yeah, look, guys, we're going to have a lot coming your way throughout the hire and throughout the coming days. We jumped on board as soon as the news broke. Brian Lazar just sent me an email that he's got a story ready to go, so I'm going to have that up when we end the show. So we've got a lot coming your way.
Y'all, this is just such a
Scott Tron,
colossal
sources
hire.
say Corey stays and maybe Blake and Falk.
Blake Baker. I mean, look, I don't know if it's LSU where he stays, but he deserves a job somewhere. I think Durante Jones proved he belongs as a coordinator somewhere. I think Corey Raymond, if you're looking for a DB coach, who are you going to hire with a more impressive resume than him? It will be very interesting. I'll tell you this, if Marcus Freeman does indeed get the Notre Dame job, A lot less of that Notre Dame staff will be coming with Brian Kelly because you assume they'd both be fighting for those guys.
Yeah. I tell you what. I want to talk about our dear friend, attorney Kenneth P. Haines. Of course, he's one of our multiple sponsors tonight. He's a 1989 graduate of LSU Paul M. Hebert Law Center, 30 years experience in family, business, and personal injury litigation, over 15 years of experience as an assistant district attorney handling all post-conviction matters. He's been lead counsel on everything from complicated rollover accident to simple divorce to a death sentence appeal. Board certified in family law since 2004 and board certified in appellate practice every year that the specialty has been offered. He served on a specialization advisory committee for family law 2 full terms and serving on the specialization advisory committee for an appellate practice, currently the vice chairman, invited speaker to LSU continuing legal education, proud founding member of TigerBait.com. He's an active participant on our Tiger Den message board, and he's sometimes referred to as the unofficial official lawyer of TigerBait.com because he always reserves the right to think most clearly for a paying client. 912 Kings Highway, Shreveport, Louisiana. Give him a call, 318-222-2100. And big thanks to Kenny for jumping on to our impromptu show. And by the way, I want to give you all a scheduling update. We are going to go have a doubleheader tomorrow night because men's basketball is Wednesday night. So Preston's show will be at 7 o'clock, and then Buddy Sanji and I will be tomorrow night at 8. And so we're going to have a lot more to unpack on this, a lot of discussion with recruits, more news and info as we get it on staff. And and then we're going to wait to see what day we get a press conference in the introduction. I'm assuming since Kim Mulkey got the purple carpet at the airport, Jay Johnson didn't get that, but Kim Mulkey did. What do we get? Do we get a PMAC or a Tiger Stadium deal?
A word on the street I've been hearing is they're going to do something in Tiger Stadium. That's what I've been hearing. Nothing substantiated, nothing confirmed, but we shall see. I mean, I would think this generates enough excitement to put 20,000 people in Tiger Stadium.
I'm sure that a lot of that's weather permitting.
Yeah. You see the super chat?
Yeah, look, Kenny Russell, thank you, man. And look, it's in yellow. I've never seen that before.
Yeah, me neither. Is it the more money you get, the different colors?
I don't know.
Someone leave us a big giant super chat. Let's test out the colors.
Yeah, Mike, LSU has lacked accountability and discipline since 19. Kelly is the perfect fit to reestablish the LSU brand.
Yeah.
He will kill it here.
Yeah.
And Kenny's one of our best posters, and he's saying exactly what Jamie Howard was telling me on the phone. Jamie Howard was absolutely ecstatic, and some of the other responses I've gotten from text messages. And look, not everybody's 100% happy. There's some people that are upset, but I can tell you the folks that have been up to Notre Dame for visits, and that's a pretty big deal because Jamie Howard and Walker have been on the phone with Notre Dame coaches throughout the recruiting process. Their offensive coordinator, Tommy Reese, they've been in talks with. And look, so I think one thing for sure, not only excited about a guy who's a CEO and no nonsense, and he's going to bring some toughness. I'm really excited about his ability to recruit offensive linemen, and I can't wait to – if he brings that offense, that strength and conditioning coach with him, that's lights out, big time.
Yeah, which I would expect they probably want to do a new strength and conditioning coach. I mean, I love Moffitt, great person. He's very nice to me during my time at LSU, but there has been a lot of criticism thrown his way recently. I'm going to give a shout out to a comment. I try not to do this too much on you, but Brian Kelly's brother, Rick Kelly, not his real brother, y'all, but why did the Citizen decommit? I think me and you can both attest. I mean, he decommitted because there was no football coach.
Yeah, and we'll see how that plays out now.
I would not be shocked to see him back in the fold very quickly.
And HM put out his final three today, and he had LSU, Florida, and Clemson in there. Le'Veon Moss, is currently committed to Texas A&M. How does that play out?
Yeah.
We always talk about Aaron Anderson. Jacoby Matthews got visited today. I think Quincy Wiggins will be on board soon. I think you solidify those guys. You make a beeline to Shaz Preston and Kendrick Law. in all the current commitments. Try to lock them up. You try to get Harold Perkins back in town, and then you go from there. And then you start to look at the Notre Dame's commitment list. Who's gonna take a serious look at LSU now? Who can you get in for official visits in a hurry? So we're gonna find that out. Let me find this.
Got another super chat, by the way.
Yep. Let me scroll down and get it.
That's no slack, and I'll go ahead and start getting this off while you find that on there. What about Mickey Joseph? Well, the buzz is around Mickey Joseph today that Nebraska is indeed going to go pursue him, and I'd be shocked if he does not end up at Nebraska. That's his alma mater, and yeah. I think
I heard the money for him was going to be in line with what he was getting here. So
right.
Guys, do us a favor, please like, share. We got a big group in here tonight, probably one of the biggest ever. Very much appreciative of y'all tuning in tonight. Hit the subscription button, the notification bell. We load up videos here every day on our YouTube channel. And of course, a lot of you are watching us on our Facebook channel as well. And so we want to have him. Plus, look, go to TigerBait.com. We've got a lot of premium content coming your way. Obviously, the next few weeks is going to be big. Subscribe, choose the annual package. When you choose the annual package on TigerBait.com, you're essentially getting 3 months free versus going monthly. And we've had significant growth in the last year, and very much thanks to all of you and spreading the word. So after the show's over with, go subscribe to TigerBait. I'm on our message boards day and night, and I think we're about to have a lot of fun. We're going to be busy, but it's going to be fun. So
the shows have gotten a lot better. We've made a lot of studio investments. We've gotten a lot of sponsors on board. It's been great having y'all come unfold. Seriously, y'all. I mean, we started this as a leap of faith, and it made a lot of investments without any dividends.
Yep.
So we both appreciate y'all genuinely for supporting our channel. We're almost at 10,000 subscribers.
Yep. We should get there by the end of the year. Gregory Price, I want offensive lineman, center, offensive lineman, times 2. I'm with you, Greg. That's been the Achilles heel, and part of the reason why when I was pushing the limits for Mario Cristobal early on, but Brian Kelly's in that same
let me ask
category
you this.
with the ability to recruit offensive
You've got 4. Are there any offensive linemen you're thinking of that LSU might have a chance? I know one where a hat's on the table, but you're behind the 8 ball for him.
It's all about who you can get in quickly.
Julian Armella?
Yeah, I mean, is that a tall order?
That's a tall order.
And now you got Napier at Florida.
He was at Alabama today.
Yep.
I saw him make a TikTok about it. He was impressed by Alabama. I promise you that.
You go there and
I mean, everybody's impressed by Alabama. I mean, I remember taking a look behind the scenes at Alabama 15 years ago, and I was blown away by it.
Reed Perrin, sorry I'm late, but does Rick stay now? I don't think so. And knowing what I know about Brian Kelly, I don't think he'll put up with that kind of stuff, which is good.
And look, LSU. I'm
gonna be honest with you. That's what this program needs.
A no nonsense guy. I agree. That's one of the reasons me and you were kind of on Lane Kiffin, because while he's a great X's and O's and all that good stuff, he can call some offense. Is he the maturity you need at LSU right now after having 2 cartoon characters?
I think LSU could. I think the program can use a bit of throwback, hard nose.
I cannot.
Of course, when people think that, they automatically think Les Miles. Les Miles wasn't like that.
Mike, I cannot wait to get my ass chewed out by Brian Kelly in a press conference. I'm gonna ask him something hard one day just to get chewed out by him.
LSU Girl 04, great show once again. Thank you very much. Football, Riley is the guy that enters the gym to check his Twitter account on his cell phone, then hits the shower. I can see that.
Hey, can I tell you something?
Visors went out of style a long time ago.
I blasted for months that Lincoln Riley was the big fish after Brian Kelly pulled his name out of remember his $250 million quote from Brian Kelly. I was boasting on my chest about Lincoln Riley. Let me tell you this. If it is indeed true that he went to USC.
1,015.
What's that?
1,015 online.
Nah, there we go. 1,000 people watching.
Thanks, guys.
All right, all 1,000 of you, listen to this. If Lincoln Riley did indeed go to USC because he didn't want that SEC smoke, good. That's not the best coach in the country. The best coach in the country isn't afraid of the SEC. Brian Kelly is the best hire you could get if Lincoln Riley truly was afraid of the SEC. Go ahead, take a walk. That's not an elite coach. If that's true,
that's the only thing you can point to. Well, look, they did offer. Look, when they're buying you a $4 million house in Los Angeles,
look, the contract, I get it,
and they're paying $500,000. They're paying
outside of that, isn't USC kind of like 2 steps down from not only LSU but Oklahoma?
No, I'm not gonna say 2 steps.
I'm gonna say 2 steps, man. I mean, whoo.
LSU is a better job. I believe that.
I think USC is a top 15 job. Let's put it like that.
Bill Morrow, great job, guys, on short notice. Appreciates the show very much. Thanks, Bill.
Appreciate you, Bill. Ooh, that's so smooth.
Let's see. General Shadow, is it official yet? No, it's not. We haven't got a release yet. I think that's probably going to come at about the same time. They'll send a release, and they'll also send us media an alert where we need to be, when it's going to happen, and all that sort of thing.
Someone tagged Mark Cumby watching the show tagged Brian Kelly's committed offensive lineman. I don't think he's going to steal all of. Here's the deal: he's got 4 in the fold. I mean, good ones. Fitzgerald West. You got Emory Jones, who I think will be your starting center next year. I'm going to stick with that prediction, by the way. You've got the kid in Neville. I don't know why I'm forgetting his name. Will Campbell. I mean, you've got some really good players in the fold, and then some other guys you've been talking to. Look, Julian Armello would make that an outstanding addition.
Yeah, but he's not the only one to go in on.
Oh, I know. Who do you think's more likely than him?
I mean, because we're just flying by the seat of our pants. I'm gonna be up till 2 or 3 in the morning. I've got to go dig around.
By the way, those names that Mark Cumby was so nice to do some research for me. He's got Emil Wagner out of Dayton, Ohio, Lawrence Academy. I'm sorry, Ty Chan out of Lawrence Academy, and he's got Joey Tanona out of Indiana. So Indiana, Massachusetts, Ohio. Those guys might be hard to bring to Louisiana. We'll see though. Sometimes it's all about the coach.
Tom T, I hope Walker Howard likes the hire. Yes, he does. He gave a quote to the guy at the Advertiser, and I retweeted it, basically saying we're going to win a national championship with Coach Kelly. And so you're talking about, Walker Howard is your Pied Piper of the recruiting class.
Yeah,
he's the guy. Him and Will, and look, Emory's a big part of that too. They all are recruiting the other kids. So we're going to see how it rolls out. But
some other instant feedback: LaTerrence Welsh loves it. DB out of Acadiana, very talented player. Omarion Miller loved it. Also, Jack Besh has tweeted out some emojis indicating in his Gen Z millennial speak that it is also a good hire.
There was something else I needed to add. Go ahead.
Oh, go ahead. Oh, I was just trying to find some more feedback here, but I mean, guys, look, you cannot talk enough about hiring a coach with just under 300 wins. He's 263, 96, and 2. He's been coaching long enough to have ties on his record, okay? He's got 2 national championships at the Division II level. He's been to a national championship. He's been to 2 playoff appearances. Criticisms. He is 60 years old. Does he have the energy still? You hope that if he's willing to take this job, yes, he does have that energy. Other criticisms. In Notre Dame, you're going to get your wins. You're going to play the military academies. You're not going to play.
Does he jog with his shirt off?
No report that I've seen verifies that. So
American Patriot, I love the hire. BK will get these players in shape and demand accountability, something that has been lacking at LSU. You nailed it, American Patriot, and that's what Jamie Howard told me earlier, and he said that that's what the program needs, a kick in the pants. And I can't wait to see how it all unfolds. I can tell you that.
By the way, update: my wife did get a random neighborhood kid to pull the tree down off the truck, so don't worry about that, guys. We're good.
Don Tomasino at USC, he can build a team without getting beat up every week versus the USC, and then he can sneak into the playoffs and let the chips fall. Yeah, I have a feeling he'll get his ass.
Look, if that's what you're looking for, go ahead, man. I don't want you as a coach. Straight up. I don't like that stuff. We're doing a PG show tonight, right?
Yep.
It's weak. Talk about not having the chest. That's Gunnar Keel stuff right there.
Tom T says he just subscribed. Thanks for that, Tom.
Appreciate you, man.
Very much. Please be active on the message board. I'm there day and night. So
hey, I'm looking forward to tomorrow night's show.
Post new comments and new threads, and we'll get to them. Walt Brown, do you think this has been in the works for a while? I do. And I'll tell you, look, not in the works as in he was the guy and it was a done deal all this time. I don't believe that. But I know that they had went after him early on, and it was initially a no. Look, we'll see how candid they are in the press conference, what Woodward will say, and how it all transpired. I'd love for him to be really candid about how it all played out. Why not? Why not? I mean, don't give all the secrets to how you keep it such a secret. You don't want to do that, but
right.
Why not give a timeline? People would love to hear that. Of course, Ben Guy, do you think Brennan or any other kids transferring out will decide to stay?
Not Brennan. Brennan needs to go. If he was my son, I would tell him, come on, you got to find somewhere. You got to play somewhere. You're too talented not to play, son. I don't mind losing a guy.
Kenny
like
Russell,
Brennan.
doesn't Mickey Joseph have a relative on Notre Dame's staff?
Vance Joseph?
No. I'm not sure. I just scrolled down.
Vance Joseph coached for the Cardinals, so it's not. I know Vance Joseph was
I think it's another relative.
Former head coach.
It's another relative that he's talking about.
I don't know.
Kevin Vercher, Max has 35 touchdowns and 7 interceptions in his LSU career. Hope Max hangs around. Yeah, he will. He will. I guarantee you, they're tickled. Him. We hadn't talked to him, but I can't imagine them not being happy.
Do you think Nussmeier and Walker Howard both stick around?
Yeah, but you're going to go through a spring and see what happens. By the way, Walker Howard's he's got that leg is fractured again, and it's going to be 4 to 6 weeks.
Well, hopefully this time Walker, he's a tough SOB for getting out there as early as he did. I mean, talk about a competitor. Hopefully he can actually take the required time to heal. It's a hairline break though. It's not thick.
This one.
This one's clean, thicker.
No, it's not clean. This one's not clean.
Oh, wow.
But it's not bad. He'll be fine.
Yeah, I mean it's a fibula break, so it's not as serious as a tibial break.
His biggest issue from the original one was the nerve issue. If you even touched his leg, he would just
kind of spasm and freak
out. He was playing football with a soccer shin guard turned sideways on his leg.
Yeah.
Eric DeLion, I'm optimistic. How many recruits recommit, and how many does he bring from Notre Dame? That's what we're going to be following, Eric. And thank you very much for the super chat.
I'd say the one recommit kid that's going to be tough is Aaron Anderson because he's committed to Bama, and you know how that goes. And that sucks because he's a very good player.
I'd love him trying to make a run at Aaron Anderson and see what happens, but their head football coach at Carr insists on once his kids are committed that they stick.
Well, he was committed to LSU, though.
But the out was Orgeron. He was committed to Orgeron.
Yeah, we'll see. I don't think he gets overturned. I think he.
Pam Holloway, love the hire. Jeff Farrell, Kelly seems like a strange fit for Louisiana. He's like the anti-Orgeron. Yeah, he is. And look, that was something that a lot of people said, man, he's going to be a fish out of the water. And here, and I said this on my buddy Bart Smokey's show in Alexandria earlier tonight. You guys remember Pete Diakowski, the Canadian offensive lineman that came down, drove his, was it a Camaro or a Trans Am?
Peter Diakowski?
Yeah, drove down in a car that he rebuilt.
Yeah.
Canadian, fish out of water. The Fihokos, fish out of water. Skip Burtman, a Jewish man from Miami, fish out of water. Nick Saban from the north, fish out of water. Les Miles, fish out of water. Jay Johnson from out west, fish out of water. There's nothing that Louisiana people do better than open the door and make people who seem like an outsider feel like they're an insider. So when just the hospitality alone, I think people are going to know that it's going to be a bit of culture shock. and they're going to go overboard to make sure that Coach Kelly feels welcome. And I don't know if he's going to be going through 5 pounds of crawfish, peeling them in lightning fashion. Maybe you're going to have to, teach them rice and gravy versus mashed potatoes, and tell them how to say pecan pie versus pecan. But
By the way, if you say pecan, I don't like you. Just straight up.
Well,
it's pecan.
You're going to have to give him a mulligan.
Well, maybe I'll give Brian Kelly a mulligan, but
Yeah.
he makes $15 million more than me a year, so I have to.
Kenpo Karate. Kelly loses all the big games.
Brian Kelly? I wouldn't say all of the big games. I do plan, this is one of the things about doing an impromptu show is you're not quite as well researched on everything as you'd like to be. Yes, he's 0-2 in the playoff. Yes, he's 0-1 in a national championship. But, I mean, he also did win 2 national championships back
Notre
in the gap,
Dame
y'all.
does not have the ability to recruit.
Yeah, absolutely. And he's still recruiting at a high level there,
Yeah.
by the way. Notre Dame has a ceiling.
He's maxed out.
Notre Dame has a ceiling. We've been talking about these coaches at programs with a ceiling. If we're saying Notre Dame's got a lower ceiling
Mark
than
Stoops
Oklahoma.
has a ceiling. Billy
yeah.
Napier had a ceiling.
Oh yeah, all these coaches.
You can't fault these guys.
You can't fault them, and I think Notre Dame.
That's why the LSU job was so appealing. Then.
Notre Dame was a disaster when he got there. I mean, it was an utter train wreck for 15, 20 years, basically since, 1989 when they beat West Virginia for the national championship with Lou Holtz and company. And by the way, the West Virginia quarterback got hurt in that game. It's the only reason they won. But, he has turned Notre Dame into a winner. Don't give me this garbage about he can't win the big game. Is he supposed to out-recruit Clemson? Is he supposed to out-recruit Alabama? Tell me one of those games he should have won.
Well, who's winning all the national championships?
Coaches you can't get.
The SEC.
Yeah.
Okay. Don Wheat, finally have a great coach and not a clown.
Yeah, I agree with that. Well, I mean, not to say the last 2 were clowns, but...
Ludwig Copenhagen, I like Brian Kelly. I think he'll do fine. Carl Dunn, Carl the Cat, got the splash
Carl,
out.
what's going on?
Yep. No more Pete's.
Ooh, wow.
Of course, he called him Poots.
Yeah.
Was that a typo or you did that on purpose, Switch?
I don't think it was a typo.
Sweeky D. Yeah, it's all about the offensive coordinator.
Yeah.
Scummy. Looks like Ole Miss and Auburn will be the only teams competing with Bama in the West. Horrible hire. Brandon Moore, does this mean
Did he just
Brian
say,
Kelly can fire Pete's as soon as he gets to town? Yeah, he has that ability. That's going to be real interesting to see how this plays out. Like, if LSU does get the bowl, which part of the staff of Orgeron's staff, led by interim coach Brad Davis, is there, and then you have to plug guys in. That's going to be hard. Like, do you bring a couple of Brian Kelly's guys into the fold so they can actually have contacts with recruits? And you're only allowed so many. The number can only be so many. Do you intermingle them?
Yeah, it's tough.
I don't know how they're going to do that.
Me neither, but they'll figure out a way. They'll juggle it. They've done that kind of juggling before.
Yeah, Jim Milano. Joe Burrow was a fish out of water.
That's right.
Eating crawfish.
Look, sometimes to me though, the unfamiliarity can be a good thing.
No. That's going to be part of the charm.
I think
He's going to be able to play into that.
I think Louisianians were a little too comfortable with what we know. And I'm not going to bash Dave Aranda as a coach because I think he's a brilliant coach and he's going to do big things in his career. But the fact that Dave Aranda was consistently the number 1 pick over big name guys when I put out polls, I mean, it shows we're a little too comfortable with what we know and understand, and I think that's a bad thing. I think it's good that you went and got something completely new and different with no kind of connections, no kind of new somebodies. It was just a primetime hire. That's it. I think that's a big deal.
When you take the emotion out of the hire, it's a solid hire, not a sexy hire. We expected home run. Yeah, this is not a sexy hire.
There you go.
That's okay, but
Beautifully said.
yeah, no, I get it. That's
This is a grown-up hire.
yeah. And what was I saying throughout the process? LSU wants Ward Cleaver. This
right.
guy is Ward Cleaver.
That's your grown up.
In fact, I told J-Boy that today, Jake Crane, and he goes, I like that. Can I use that? And I said, yeah, the problem is when you say Ward Cleaver, the millennials aren't going to know who you're talking about.
I don't know who you're talking about.
Exactly.
He's the dad on Leave It to Beaver, but
Well, you got it.
Well, because you've told me, but I wouldn't have got that by myself. And I guess I understood that the family was the Cleavers, but yeah, no.
Rick Kelly, Preston, you are funny. Great show.
Appreciate you,
He's
man.
funny, all right.
Funny looking.
Yeah. Okay. Walker Henderson, Saban owns Kelly. Well, who doesn't Saban own?
I mean, really, if you try to hire coaches based off of their record against Saban, go ahead, have fun. Who are you gonna hire?
Yeah. Well, Kelly was using a 4.10, and now he's got a 30-6.
Let's put it like this: if you're gonna hire coaches based off their record against Alabama, aren't you just gonna go hire Hugh Freeze?
By the way, what do y'all think the record will be for year one? I think 8-4 is max.
I don't know. Depends on how many players. I want to see how many players come back. 8-4 is not the max. It's not the max.
If he gets to 9-3,
it's, no,
that's
that's not
SEC.
the max either.
oh man.
If all these guys, Keyshawn Butte, let's say Stingley comes back another year.
Don't forget.
Let's say Eli Ricks, they get him back in the fold.
Those games flip next year.
Yeah.
Here's
Here's the deal. Also,
you're at Florida.
there is a remote possibility that Oklahoma and Texas are on your schedule next year. By the way, there's a possibility that they may do the pod thing, like they may pay that extra fee and just go ahead and rip the Band-Aid off, because we saw that with Texas A&M. It happened earlier than expected. But more realistically, it'd be next year. But you don't know what the schedule looks like. But it's not the max. I mean, yeah, the floor might be 6-6, 7-5 next year. But man, I wouldn't limit this team to 8 wins. No, I mean they've got tons of talent.
Gregory Gordy, Notre Dame is still a disaster. They're 11-1.
I mean, what's a disaster? Was it 11-1? Was it 10-2 last year? 9-0 in the ACC with a Rose Bowl loss? Was it 11-2 in 2019? Was it 12-1 with a loss in the Cotton Bowl in the playoffs in 2018?
Yeah.
10-3 in 2017. By the way, that's Orgeron's tenure I just rattled off. Or was it a couple 8-5 seasons? Was it 34-6 at Cincinnati? Was that the disaster?
Yeah, Jeff Morrow, he's
Come on.
Catholic. He will eat fried fish and etouffee on Fridays.
You know what? He gets to throw boiled crawfish into his Lent diet.
Yeah. Well, I'm Episcopalian, so I eat steaks on Fridays.
Yeah. Now, here is he going to go to St. Patrick's or St. Thomas More? That's the question.
Yeah. Of course, Coach Schumacher, Father Schumacher at STM is always trying to convert me when I'm on the sideline.
Well, I was talking about the other one with Michael Olello. There's a Baton Rouge STM too.
Yeah.
Although he might want to start going to that Lafayette STM based on that quarterback who's there.
Yeah, Brian Madeira, I said it early in the show. Just to refresh your memory, Kelly is 2-0 in games against LSU. Games that the talent was not even there. And they played hard-nosed football against LSU and won both those bowls.
Oh, yeah.
Of course, we were all saying, well, LSU didn't want to go to those. Those were lesser bowls, and they just didn't want to be there, and I get it. But he won them.
Oh, well, is LSU going to play down in this bowl game this year?
Yeah, we'll see.
I don't know. I bet I'll tell you this. I know Brad Davis is going to coach as hard as he can.
Eric DeLyon, Mike, if I remember, didn't you say at the beginning of the coaching search not to sleep on Brian Kelly? It's something Scott would do, and I did say that.
I opened up the show giving Mike credit. Y'all know if I'm giving Mike Scarborough credit, he deserves it. I hate giving him credit. He's a bit of a jerk, but he deserves it on this one. He had him day one. If that doesn't tell you that it's worth your $1 to try TigerBait.com, listen to this guy go, look, I don't know what will.
Let's see. God First 91, this hire will be better than most people think. Kelly will surprise a lot of people. Let me scroll down, guys. We're home run hire I'm seeing. If we lose Joseph, who will the next wide receiver coach be? I mean, look, it's the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to go look and see who the wide receivers coach.
Yeah.
the wide receivers coach is at our passing game coordinator
At Notre Dame is, which I don't even know who their offensive. It's Tom Reese is their offensive coordinator. I don't really know much.
Tommy Reese. Well, that's the guy that Jamie Howard and them love.
Yeah, so you would assume he'd be
Del Alexander.
Yeah.
So we'll see. Do those guys necessarily come with him? I don't know that.
Yeah, I mean, another thought that comes to mind is Joe Brady is on the hot seat in Carolina right now. They are talking about running him out of town. So maybe
Slicky D, can we finally put the Joe Brady talk behind us?
right as I mentioned Joe Brady.
Joe Brady,
as an offensive coordinator, he'd be fine.
Joe Brady was the absolute beneficiary of Joe Burrow.
I think he was just
some great play calling during that season, but boy, do you had a guy that could execute it.
Yeah, no, absolutely. And in all fairness, look, at Carolina, every break that could have gone against them has gone against them. I mean, McCaffrey's been out for basically 2 years. Their quarterbacks have been a rotating shuffle.
Squeaky D, speak for yourself. Brian Kelly is a hunk, so saying that he isn't a sexy hire, there's a disagreement right there.
Look, man, if that's what you're into, man, I don't know. If they're into Brian Kelly, she should probably slide up in your.
Well, how do you know? Is that a guy? You don't know. Be quiet.
No judgment.
Gerald Jr., come on, Preston. Everybody knows about the Beeve. Yeah.
Leave it to Beaver, yeah. Cleaver, Beaver, whatever, guys. Come on.
Yeah, he is Ward Cleaver. There's gonna be no nonsense. I'm telling you, and that's. Gonna...
my dad's probably watching this show out there somewhere, just very disappointed in me not knowing that reference, and that's okay, pops.
You don't have TV land. Y'all don't have cable.
Oh, he's got it. He loves those old timey shows. Actually, I set him up with
a
Amazon
lot of
Fire
guys.
Stick.
A lot of guys saying 7 and 5 in year one.
Look, that's not unrealistic.
9 and 3. I think a lot of people would say 7 and 5.
That's where
I'll tell you what, if he gets to 9 and 3 next year, I'm telling you that's SEC Coach of the Year. LSU dressed out less than 60 scholarship players on Saturday, and we don't know what the end result of the transfer portal is going to be. Certainly, you're going to get the 25 plus 7.
Well, let me ask you this: so you're basically like what, 2 plays away from 8 and 4 this year?
It's going to take 2 years to get even close to 85.
Well, but think about this: you're like 30 yards away from beating Alabama. You're an overtime debacle, stupid interception away from beating Arkansas, away from 8 and 4 this year. Did Ogeron do a fantastic job coaching the team this year? Was Ogeron an incredible coach this year? Or just a wee bit off of 8 and 4? No, I think you could argue that the team out there should have been 8 and 4 this year.
And that's, like I said, Saturday night. That win over A&M was exactly what I've been saying all year long as to why I didn't want Jimbo Fisher anywhere on the coaching search. And I've been seeing some spin out of College Station because their fan base is melting down. They had the 10 wins last year during a COVID year.
Yeah.
They believe that they're the heir apparent to be the team to compete to unseat Alabama in the West more than anybody else. And I just don't see it. His offense is it's from the Stone Age. It's the closest thing to Les Miles. And so I'm glad LSU absolutely avoided Jimbo Fisher. And what did I tell y'all all year long as well? Don't be surprised if LSU doesn't beat A&M in that last game. And then what if Scott Woodward tries to hire him and roll him out after Ed Orgeron beats him? And luckily that didn't happen. But Ed Orgeron did get the win in his last game. So
yeah, and good for him, by the way. I think he's ready to get to his destined lifestyle. I saw some pictures surfacing from him today. He's living his best life out there already. So good for him. Happy for him. The thing about Texas A&M that comes to mind is there, we talk about ceilings at programs. Man, when has Texas A&M ever been more than an 8 and 4 program consistently?
Yep.
If even that might be elevated, because I remember them being kind of like 6 and 6-ish before they joined the SEC. I'll look that into it.
Dane Bergeron, as long as the team is trending in the right direction, I am not concerned about the record. There is a rebuild in the works to the program, and to me, that's how people have to take it and enjoy what you're seeing getting rebuilt.
Yeah. Absolutely. And look, I told people this after Ogeron and the championship. I said, look, this will be his defining season in 2020 and beyond. Don't look at his wins and losses. That don't matter. Just ultimately, it doesn't matter. It's about the moves you make to build your program, put your program in a position to compete for another championship. What are the moves that Brian Kelly's about to make that put his program in a position to compete for a championship? What does he do with these 12 remaining spots this year? Does he keep Walker Howard? Because that's a big step in the right direction. Who's his quarterback next year? Does the quarterback improve? If it's Max Johnson next year, how's his pocket presence? Is the offensive line improving? Those things you're looking at, guys. Wins and losses, you might face five super tough teams next year. Who cares?
And by the way, what I was saying is it flips. You get Texas A&M, Auburn, and Florida on the road next year.
Right.
You get Alabama at home. Florida State's going to be the first game on a Sunday. Angelia Olsen, I'm happy to see a hiring decision being made without fan pressure. Hire your guy and stand behind him.
There you go.
That's a good comment from my friend Angelia Olsen.
Am I the only one who feels like when the name was announced, everybody was like, oh, and then they were like, wait, how many games did he win?
Well, look.
Wait, what is he doing right now?
I think.
Okay, that's a good coach. Let's go. That's kind of the vibe I'm getting, right?
If they would have rolled out 7-5 Matt Campbell, most people would have been marching in lockstep within 24 hours after the press conference.
Yeah, I think that would have been as visceral. That would have been more visceral of a reaction than when they hired Ogeron. Because the ones who hated Ogeron hated him, but there was a strong contingency of people who loved it. I don't think anybody would have loved Matt Campbell.
Chuck Girard, you can bet Brian is going to bring in quality offensive linemen. He put more offensive linemen in the NFL than any college coach not named Saban. And Chuck, that is huge because that's been LSU's Achilles heel almost every season. We go on almost every season saying that the weak link is offensive lineman or the position of worry. And how long does it take him to remedy that situation? And who can he add to what LSU's got already on board? Bo Bordelon, Fitzgerald West, Emory Jones, and Will Campbell.
Yeah. Two of those guys are project guys. I think Bo Bordelon and Fitzgerald West. Man, Fitzgerald West, I looked at some highlights of him downfield blocking. You love it because you don't always see that from guys. So 5-star heart out of Fitzgerald West. He does need some time, as does Bo Bordelon. Needs some time to develop. I think Will Campbell and Emory Jones, you might be starters next year. Those guys are plug and play ready. A guy like Julian Armella, who's not very likely to bring in the fold, but you've got a hat on the table.
But he's got. I think anybody that new that comes on board, if they come on board this class or in this signing period, might be Notre Dame guys that they've recruited at Notre Dame.
I could see it, but all those guys I'm looking at in their recruiting class, they're all Midwest guys or Northeast guys.
That's okay.
No, it's perfectly fine.
You just got to get them down here.
I'm just telling you, it's not the kid from Ponchatoula that's committed to Notre Dame, that might be a plug-in recruit.
Yeah.
Okay, guys in the Southeast footprint, those make sense. I mean, Notre Dame's got a national brand recruiting, but a kid from Massachusetts might be a tough sell to bring to Baton Rouge. You just never know.
Jimmy Bourgeois, does Freeman come with Kelly? We're going to wait and see if LSU gets a second bite at that.
I'll tell you what, if Luke Fickell gets the job at Notre Dame, I'd be shocked to see him not come here. I'd be shocked if he doesn't come to LSU.
That can go either way. But if he's thinking, there's a play there to think, okay, Brian Kelly's 60 years old. I go down there with him, and we get the job done.
Right. He might be the coach, the heir apparent.
Yeah.
That's why I'm saying I'd be shocked if Marcus Freeman doesn't get the Notre Dame job, I'd be surprised if he doesn't come to LSU.
And oftentimes that's what you see too, where a guy is up for the job and under consideration, and he don't get it, and he's not going to stick around because he gets passed over.
Pack your bags. That's right.
So
hey, Ogeron,
that's a smarter move because if you stay at Notre Dame, you're not going to. Luke Fickell's a young guy.
Yeah. Yeah, that's exactly what I'm getting at. If they hire Luke Fickell, what the heck? Why would he do that? What, you're going to wait 32 years for Luke Fickell to retire? No, you're not. Mm-hmm. Go to LSU where you're under a guy who might retire in 5 years. And by the way, I think that one of the good things about Brian Kelly is no matter what, after 5 years, you should feel pretty confident that he's going to leave the program in a good spot.
I got a super chat find.
Sweet. How many viewers are we at, Mike?
Rob Robson, when can we realistically expect LSU to be a playoff threat with Kelly? Year 2 or 3?
Yeah. Two 2 at the earliest.
Walker Howard's junior year.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Walker Howard's redshirt sophomore
What's a
year.
playoff threat? Is 10-2 a playoff threat? I mean, a threat to make the playoffs.
Garrett Nussmeier's senior year. Man, I don't know. There's so many.
Let's
Scenarios.
put it like this, guys. Before the season, I said LSU was a year away. That was assuming not massive roster turnaround.
Thank you for the super chat, Rob.
Guys, I mean, other than offensive line, I would not be shocked if this team looks good next year. But I don't think it's reasonable to expect 10 wins out of this guy in his first year coming off a 6-6 season. But I wouldn't be shocked if next year they look a hell of a lot better.
No, Dane Bergeron. You know who they might look like and play like? Sam Pittman's Arkansas teams.
Yes. That's a good comparison. You see, last year,
Missing some pieces.
Yep.
Missing some pieces.
Yep.
But scaring the heck out of people.
Absolutely.
Where they're, where LSU's an underdog on the road. That type of stuff.
Let me put it like this. Remember, one of the things I prefaced about this coaching search is, who do you trust? 2022 and 2023 has more talent in the state of Louisiana than we've ever seen in back-to-back classes. Who do you trust to bring them in, and who do you trust to develop that talent? I think you brought in an excellent guy to do both.
Hey, look, there were some good coaches on this staff that's getting booted too.
Do you think that Brian Kelly will get the next 2 recruiting classes in a position to compete for a championship?
Oh, I do.
I'd be shocked if he doesn't.
Look, and then look, you're going to see after year 1, is there some things that need to be tweaked, or
Sure.
is there, that's a part of the program.
Guys, if they go 6-6 next year, don't freak out.
No, I ain't saying that. I'll never.
Don't freak out.
Dane Bergeron, thanks for the super chat. You'll see a big difference in Max Johnson with better scheme and offensive lineman. His pocket presence is very coachable.
Yep.
I agree with that.
I agree.
Okay, guys, I'm going to wrap it up. I got a bunch of content to get up. I got some recruits to reach out to. Go to TigerBait and subscribe. Thanks for Preston coming in. Thanks to Tramonte's. And might get another sip of that whiskey on the way out. And thanks to Kenneth P. Haines for sponsoring the show. And thanks to all you. Please hit the subscription bell and notification bell if you're watching us on YouTube. If you're watching us on Facebook, please hit the like button there as well and follow us.
Share to your Facebook groups.
But we really want to see you on TigerBait.com. Subscribe. And if you haven't tried it, you can try us out for $1 too for a week. So we're going to have a lot of content coming your way. And so Preston tomorrow night at 7 and Buddy Sanji and I at 8 o'clock. We're moving our show to Tuesday night. We might have to do that for the rest of the way. Because if there's a lot of Wednesday night basketball games. So
no reason not to hit that bell and subscribe, guys.
All right. Good night, guys. Thank you.
Cheers to a good coach, huh?
Yep. There you go.